Hello and welcome to a presentation of the last team assessment in KCB205 Professional Communication. It's the team document we're covering in this recording, and we'll walk through the final assessment guidelines and the executive summary. So let's start with the final assessment guidelines. The team document, which is 25% of the total unit, refers to all 4 learning objectives, and it is completed and submitted as a team. The due date is the 26th of October in week 13 at 11:59 p.m. You find all this information and more on Blackboard under the headline Assessments. So before we go into details with the submission, word count and so on and so forth, let's dive into the content bit. In this last team assessment, you and your team will further develop on your proposal presented internally to your colleagues in the consultancy firm in the assessment 2. So take the content feedback that your tutor provided you with after your team presentation in week 8 and 9, add previous team consultations feedback, and develop your content accordingly. Your reader is now the external client, so make sure you adjust the balance of your content and your writing style to fit this context. The content of the initial planning phase is there to create credibility for your team and for your proposal, and to justify your professional proposal. So give enough facts and data to do just that, and leave out redundant facts already known to the client. In the implementation phase, make sure that you are detailed enough with, for example, the media mix, the timeline, to show how your proposal will meet the client's communication opportunity or problem, with a proposal that is carefully tailored to both meet the target audience's need and media habits, and of course deliver on the defined communication objectives. An example of what your idea would look like in one of your chosen communication channels must be presented as well. Could, for example, be a social media post, a flyer, a storyboard for a video, or something like that. What's presented in the implementation phase is what excites the client the most, and should therefore be given extra focus in this written document. This is the communication idea, the message, the activities you actually propose to improve the client's situation, and make sure that they're well-based, well-founded, clever, creative, and at the same time presented in a way that makes it easy to understand for the client. The last evaluation phase is where you wrap up the document in a persuasive way to reassure the client that you are a serious partner to work with in the future. Make sure that you finish the written proposal with a proper paragraph indicating the next step. All instructions on how to write and design the Assessment 3A document are presented in the week 8 and 9 lectures. You should of course also read Blackboard. And remember, you have the opportunity to have team consultations in week 11 to 13 in tutorials. Bring a draft, questions, or whatever you want your tutor's feedback on, and we will be happy to give you feedback or input or feed forward. BCom is also, of course, a reliable source of knowledge in the writing process. So for assessment details, go to Blackboard, Assessments, and click on Team Documents. This will take you here. And at the top of the page, you'll find the submission link. Make sure that you appoint one person on your team to make the submission for all of you. All team members' names and student numbers must be found on the title page, and submit your team document in a PDF format. Name your PDF, your team number and your client's name. So for example, 23powerhouse.pdf. And further down on this Blackboard page, you'll find all the instructions. Details such as it has to be prepared, written and finished as a team, and the actual task, presenting you with hands-on instructions on, for example, word limit and so forth. You'll also find the CRA sheet, and that's something I will come back to in a little while. And even further down you find the due date, which is Friday the 26th of October, week 13, 11:59 p.m. But let us get back to the CRH sheet for a little while. So this assessment, as earlier mentioned, is worth 25% of this unit. And the CRA consists of 3 equally weighted criteria. First criteria is content, and it refers to the lectures delivered in week 3 to 5. And it was also presented earlier in this recording. Second criteria being the document structure and format. And that refers to lecture content in week 8. And lastly, criteria 3, writing style. And that refers to lecture content week 9. So this assessment will result in a team grade, and if needed, the tutor will provide written feedback on the CRA sheet when it's returned to each student. So in short, incorporate the content feedback from your presentations and the remaining team consultations in tutorials. And develop your document now to address a busy reader, external client, to fit this context and reader. Write collaboratively. Don't try to merge and fit bits and pieces that don't fit and flow well. How to write collaboratively has been covered in earlier lectures. And remember, you still have the opportunities to have team consultations from week 11 all the way through to week 13. Bring questions regarding content, structure, design, language, editing, whatever you need, and you will have feedback from your tutor. And don't forget to appoint one person per team to be the one submitting the team document for you. Due date, Friday, 26th of October, week 13, 11:59. So before we close this recording on instructions for assessment 3.8, the team document, let's spend a few minutes on the executive summary. Because the executive summary is an important part of assessment 3A, and it cannot be written until the entire team document is finished, since its content must be based on the final version of your team document. No facts, data, information, or any new ideas can be presented in an executive summary that are not already part of the main document. So first of all, the executive summary is part of the front matter. And if you have forgotten what that is, please revisit the online lecture from week 8. The title page is page number Roman numeral 1. And the table of contents is Roman numeral 2. And depending on if you decided to give your list of inclusions a separate page, the executive summary is the next page. In this student example, it's Roman numeral 4. Note that after the front matter, the actual body of the text starts on page number Arabic numeral 1. But of course you already know all about this pagination stuff after listening to the week 8 online lecture. So there are different types of summaries, and an executive summary differs from a simple summary, while the simple summary only briefly mirrors the main body of the document. An executive summary is much more action focused and focuses on your key recommendations and creating an urge and interest, so the reader can't wait to read the full document. The executive summary is there to give a busy reader an overview and also advertise the full document. And of course, I'll provide you with a template to guide you to an executive summary for your team document. So it starts with the heading, executive summary, as shown in the previous student example. So instead of mirroring the structure of the main body of your team document, an executive summary gets straight to the outcome. So why is it worth reading? What can your client expect? That's how you start your executive summary. This is then backed up by some significant facts to create credibility for your proposal and for you as a consultancy firm. On that note, it continues with briefly presenting the rationale behind the proposal. Then it's time to present the actual proposal. How is this going to be done? Also briefly present an overall timeline and high-level summary of cost. Finish it off by pitching the key deliverables and benefits and indicate the next step. This very last paragraph of your executive summary can be what makes the reader decide if it's worth reading the entire document or not. And an executive summary must fit on one page, not any longer. The more concise and action-focused it's written, without missing out on content, of course, the better. So this example from SeaWorld is not anywhere near an executive summary, actually. This is more of a simple summary, and is not what expected in a professional proposal and thereby in Assessment 3A. In the Week 11 tutorial, previous students' team documents and executive summaries are shared that much better meet professional standard. A good thing for you to do now is to search for other professional executive summaries and think about some of the points I made here. So the executive summary is obviously an integrated part of your team document and cannot be written until it's finished. A more elaborated and detailed version of the assessment instructions and information about the executive summary is delivered in the Week 10 lecture. We can, of course, discuss these points in more details in the upcoming lectures and also in the team consultations delivered in tutorial Week 11 to 13. Good luck with Assessment 3A team document.